Hallo und herzlich willkommen bei Unfolding Space Unboxing Lives, dem Podcast, der Unternehmertum, Lifestyle und Feng Shui verbindet. Mein Name ist Daniela Schaponic, ich bin Unternehmerin und Feng Shui-Meisterin und liebe es, über die Grenzen des Normalen hinauszudenken. Feng Shui ist hierfür die perfekte Unterstützung, obwohl es in der Gesellschaft weit unterschätzt wird. Und ich finde, es ist an der Zeit, das zu ändern. Bei Unfolding Space entdecken wir gemeinsam, wie du die Power von Feng Shui nutzt, um dein Leben, deinen Lifestyle und dein Unternehmen zu transformieren. Freue dich auf inspirierende Gespräche und Interviews, die dir helfen, dein volles Potenzial zu entfalten. Bereit? Dann lass uns beginnen. Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu einer weiteren Ausgabe vom Unfolding Space Unboxing Lives Podcast. In der heutigen Episode freue ich mich wahnsinnig darüber, mit dir ein Interview zu teilen, das ich vor einigen Monaten mit der wunderbaren Tansy Rodgers aufnehmen durfte. Tansy ist Amerikanerin, ist spirituelle Heilerin, Reiki-Meisterin und hat einen ganz, ganz spannenden Podcast, der heißt The Energy Fix. Und ich hatte die Ehre, Gast dort zu sein. Und der Grund, warum ich diese Podcast-Folge mit dir teile, ist, dass Tansy mir Fragen gestellt hat, die sehr außergewöhnlich waren. Und ich weiß nicht, wie es euch geht, aber wenn ich beispielsweise Interviews gebe, wenn mir jemand, ich bereite mich für Interviews meistens nicht vor. Ich gehe mehr eher in eine Meditation, in eine Ruhe und sage, okay, möge zum Wohle aller auf allen Ebenen des Bewusstseins genau das aus meinem Mund herauskommen, was für diesen Zeitpunkt für die Zuhörer bestimmt ist. So mache ich es auch in meinem Podcast, so mache ich es auch, wenn ich bei Podcasts im Interview bin. Und so habe ich es damals bei ihr auch gemacht. Und ich muss ehrlich sagen, manchmal frage ich mich danach, woher kamen eigentlich diese Antworten? Wenn du das alles dir aufgeschrieben hättest, wäre es nie so aus deinem Mund rausgekommen. Und das finde ich immer so wahnsinnig spannend, muss ich sagen. Und das ist wirklich ein Podcast, der mich sehr berührt hat. Er ist in Englisch. Dennoch möchte ich dich einladen, reinzuhören. Er hat mich sehr berührt. Tansy hat mich sehr berührt. Sie ist eine wahnsinnig liebenswürdige und herzliche Person. Da war so eine Verbindung da. Und auch als als die Aufnahme beendet war, haben wir uns noch lange unterhalten, sind heute noch in Verbindung. Und deswegen, wie gesagt, wenn dich das inspiriert, was du hörst, möchte ich dich an der Stelle auch natürlich einladen, Tansy zu folgen, ihrer Arbeit zu folgen. Weil sie spricht nicht alltägliche Themen an und auf ihre eigene, sehr, sehr besondere Art und Weise. Deshalb wünsche ich dir an dieser Stelle ganz, ganz viel Spaß mit dem Interview und was soll ich sagen? Lass dich inspirieren und wir hören uns in der nächsten Podcast-Folge wieder. Bis dahin.
Welcome to the show. I am incredibly interested in talking about your area of expertise and what specifically we're going to be diving into. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm super excited also.
Daniela, I love to open up my podcast, allowing the listeners to really get to know you and the genius of who you are, and also where you're at this point in your life. I would love to talk and noodle in on what kind of word or phrase are you really embodying right now? What is feeling super resonant to you?
So at the moment, it's truly being and staying in my own personal freedom. So we just moved to Serbia from Germany, where I grew up and where I was born, where I lived my whole life. And so we had the courage just to say, okay, we don't have to, but we are moving back to our home country. So living this freedom is truly the point in my life where I am right now.
Wow, that is incredible. Okay, so that can be very challenging to really be and stay in your personal freedom and to have the courage to do that. So what are you doing maybe in your self-care or in the way that you're approaching life to be able to step into that easier?
This journey started in March 2020 when we were kind of forced to stay at home due to the happenings. And for me, until then, freedom was boarding a plane, having the freedom to travel, this was freedom for me. So, and then I had to stay at home. And in this time, I defined freedom for me differently. And this is going back to this question right now, because you asked, what am I doing to like stay in this freedom? So for me, it's a change in the perspective that freedom begins within me and not outside. So, and just, remembering every day when I'm like writing down my dreams, doing my routines, doing my rituals, it's always this, I'm free. It's not an affirmation. It's just like knowing that's my truth.
Yeah. I find it interesting that one of the key words that you keep saying over and over for what you're embodying is freedom. And I also find it so interesting of the kind of work that you do, because you work with spaces. You work with clearing spaces, creating freedom, and maybe cutting ties to things that are holding us back in our space.
Right.
Yeah. What is it about spaces that really impacts somebody's life and maybe impacts their level of freedom?
So, space is something which is surrounding us. So you'd say, okay, space and freedom is like, okay, how can those two things be connected somehow? Freedom is being out there, like moving freely, and then you have the space. But the space in Feng Shui and the space healing work I'm doing is like a second skin of our body. And so our skin is adjustable. So how we train our body, how we move, this is what our skin is doing with us. It's just moving and adjusting. And this is also with the space. And for me, space is holding energy. It's holding information. So it's a great place to create your freedom, because it's sacred and it's yours and it's like, embracing you. This is how I see it, or how I live it. Yeah.
Well, do you feel that you've had some kind of transformative experience around your own personal space? Like what got you to step into this, and especially into Feng Shui, which I know we're going to get into that whole concept, but what kind of transformative experiences did you have around this?
Oh, this is so interesting. It also everything relates to freedom. So just a little background. I studied economics at the University of Applied Science in Munich, and I was completely sure that I will have a career in marketing. I did all the work I needed to do. I went to school. I spent a year in the US to learn English, and I was ready to go. And then I got married very, very early, with 21, and we had our first son. And when I was ready to go, to really hit the road with my business, with my career, I wasn't able to, because I couldn't find a job. It was like, you're young, you are married, you have one child, So this is where I didn't feel free at all. I didn't realize it. So now in retrospect, I can tell the story from a different point of view. But back then I was like, my world is crumbling. It's like everything what I wanted to do is not happening. And this is at this lowest point in my life until now, Feng Shui crossed my space and my way, and it was clutter clearing. It wasn't Feng Shui in the first place. And I remember reading an article from Karen Kingston, which is one of my teachers, and she said it was about, you clear your space and then you gain freedom and you get into flow. And I remember saying, I don't believe this. You change something in your space and your life changes. No way. So I put it away. And then things didn't really get better. So I told my husband, well, I read we are talking 2002, 2003. So more than 20 years ago. And he's like, well, it cannot do any harm to do it. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So we did 2 days on a weekend. We really clutter cleared our home, really. And on Monday, we got a government payment, which we were expecting for a half a year. And on Tuesday, we got a yes to move to a beautiful apartment in a better side of the city. And for me, well, you can say it's coincidence, but for me, it was a moment where like, okay, this is more to it. There is much more, because I didn't do anything like in the outside. We only clutter cleared our space, no feng shui, nothing. And this is where my curiosity was totally piqued. And I was like, that's it.
So interesting. Okay. So I feel, let's stick with that feng shui concept. I feel like that was the transformative piece, because, and I'm only saying this from personal experience, I feel there is a huge difference between decluttering and clearing space versus being intentional, using tools like feng shui or using tools like your intuition and the other pieces of energy flow and healing to really make a huge impact. Does that resonate with you?
I love it. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because, I mean, clutter clearing is great. It has a different intention than when you start implementing feng shui. So clutter clearing is letting go of things which are stopping the energy from flowing. And the thing, what we do with clutter clearing is releasing energy blocks. And then when energy is released, we need to guide the energy where we want it to, because otherwise it's like water. You open up like, I don't know, a flow and water splashes everywhere. Or you start, you guide the water to flow where you want it to flow. So this is the same with energy. Otherwise, so I love how you expressed it. Absolutely.
That's the best way that I've ever heard anybody define what clutter clearing and feng shui is and how they work together. That's ingenious, because you are clearing the clutter and then you need to direct the flow. So for anybody who may not know, can we just take maybe one step back and just explain what is feng shui? And I know I've been very fascinated by it. I've tried to implement it many times in my life. I have gotten admittedly overwhelmed because I didn't know exactly what I was doing. But if you could explain what feng shui is and how maybe it can be a tool for your healing space, I would love to maybe dive into that.
Absolutely. So there are many different definitions of feng shui. The classical one is that it's a 5,000-year-old philosophy of life, where it's about creating qi and guiding qi as a life force energy through your space, so that you are connecting to nature, that you're getting back into your power. So it's kind of remembrance who we really, really are before we started to build homes and offices, not in alignment with nature's law. So this is how I see it. And then feng shui got it's very complicated. It's a philosophy of life, and it's a Taoistic philosophy of life. So Taoistic means it's tied to the freedom of the Taoistic philosophies of being free to see, being free to hear, being free to feel energy no matter where you are. So this is like the base for feng shui. And we have different schools, like it's 5,000 years old. There are so many different masters and directions. And yes, there's absolutely the possibility to get overwhelmed. And when I'm teaching feng shui, I don't simplify it. I just go totally back into the roots of, okay, what is the most important thing? What is the most important teaching from feng shui? And this is the flow of the life force energy in your space, and building relationship with your space, with your home and your offices. When you start with this, you can go a long way activating healing and energy in your space, without even diving into the complexity of feng shui.
Ooh, I love that. So do you feel like there are certain things that maybe we're doing already where we're implementing concepts from Feng Shui, but we don't even realize that we're doing it?
Mhm. I feel very often when people start loving their space, it's so basic. And then they're like, oh, I love my home. It's like, okay, that's the first step, right? Because the energy you give into your space, this is the energy you get back. So very, very simple. And then very often people who are connected to their embodiment, to their like feeling environment, they do arrange their home because they feel, I always say it's the moment where it says click in the energy. Like you place something and it's like, oh, like energy is released and you're like, okay, that's fine. So this is where you implement feng shui without knowing it.
I definitely have felt that myself. I know that there's many times where I've had things shoved under my bed, and as soon as I opened it up, it just felt different. I'll never forget there was one time that I had my bedroom, decorated and positioned in a certain way. And when I changed the bed positioning, I started sleeping better. Everything, the energy of the room felt completely different. And I thought, this is so interesting. I wonder if that was why it happened, because it was becoming more aligned with a natural flow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel it's always the best way to feel feng shui when you really feel it has an impact on how you sleep or how you are, how you feel, how like those opportunities are coming your way. So there's so many different stages how you can feel if your feng shui at home in your office is aligned or not.
Do you feel that there's some simple things that people could start to do or start to investigate to bring more feng shui into their environment?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you have a few tips that maybe,
Yes, of course. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So as I said, I really, I keep it simple, but powerful. This is my approach when teaching, because I want the listeners to be like, oh, okay, she shared something. And after the episode, or even while you're listening, you can stand up and, change something and feel the impact of it. So the first thing, as I said, is always this connection to your home. And you can close your eyes and just imagine like your aura just expanding until it fills the whole space around you. Like the whole home, everything is filled with your aura. And then you can do like a scan. You can, in your mind, you can go into, for example, the kitchen, and you go, you project yourself there, you go in and you feel how is it? The difference when you do this exercise is that you are not listening with you're not looking at it with your ratio. Like, oh, my kitchen is beautiful. Of course it's good. Oh, I mean, Tansy, I have seen so many gorgeous homes, and the people, that's the reason why they called me. So it's not about what you see, it's what you feel. And this is good just to go on a different level and then feel into each room of your home and see what comes up.
Yes. And that's also allowing people to connect deeper into their surroundings, into their home, but also create that environment that feels a little bit more peaceful, loving, and happy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And without getting confused with many different feng shui approaches.
Yeah. I like simplicity. Okay, well, thinking about that connection and that energy and that feeling, do you see that sometimes some people's spaces are this indicator of maybe where they're at right now in their life? And, do you see it tied to emotional health, productivity, fear, limiting beliefs, all of these emotions that can get tumbled up in our lives? Does that come out into the spaces that we live?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So my genius is to read energy. And then, when I teach my students, they have their own geniuses. I always say, when you enter a space as a feng shui consultant, the space is telling you maybe more about your clients than what your clients are sharing with you. Because what happens on a mostly unconscious level, we start expressing what we feel and how we feel in our space, how we arrange the furniture, what colors we choose, what do we buy? Is it cluttered? Is it minimalism? And then when I enter the home and my clients, they start talking, and then I said, really, it's not even reading the energy, it's just reading the surroundings and looking what is there. And then, I ask them, oh, what is about this painting? It like, tell me more about it. And they're like, oh, I don't like it anymore. 2 years ago, I loved it. And now I don't know why. And I said, okay, what was 2 years ago? Well, 2 years ago, I went through a divorce. And I was like, oh, okay. So now this painting was just an expression of your emotional state 2 years ago. But now you are at a different place. So maybe this painting is now allowed to leave. And I remember this lady was like, oh my God, now I have the permission to let it go. So yeah, this is how we really express where we are. And this is also the reason why we should always, like every now and then, go just change the perspective and scan our home and see, okay, is it still aligned with who I am today and maybe who I want to be tomorrow also?
Yeah. Well, I feel like clearing spaces, and again, I'm saying this from a personal place. I feel like clearing spaces can sometimes feel a little bit more stressful because memories and the things that we want to hold on to. Can you speak on that at all? If somebody is wanting to clear out, they know they need to clear out, or they have that strong desire, but yet maybe they hold back because of the things that they don't want to lose or let go of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know. I mean, clearing spaces from clutter is always emotional. It's like everybody can like go in a weekend, get some friends and just clear stuff out. But it's not, it's the process of going through the memories, making decisions, letting go, keeping, and all these things. So my approach is always not to do everything at once. Just start with the no, I have to say differently. Start with the easiest thing where you have the least resistance. It's like, I can do it in a minute. Perfect. Do it in a minute. And then you move on to the next section. So divide into sections. And then what happens when you do simple things, and then you move to the maybe more difficult ones, is you gain momentum. And then you have the strength and the momentum to do maybe hard ones. And then I always tell also my clients, stop clearing your home when you have the most fun. And they're like, what? I just gained momentum. And you're telling me, yeah, because when we finish something up and we feel happy, the probability that we will return back to this task is very high. Then if you push past this moment where you are like happy and relieved and you go into tiredness, you will remember, your body will remember, oh, last time when I did it, I felt very tired and I don't really want to return to the state. So you will start pushing it and procrastinating it. So this is also, again, my very simple approach to clutter clearing, and just, yeah.
That's a great tip, because it's all about the energy and how you feel while you're doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
And also acknowledging that clearing is energy draining because you need to make many decisions. Mm-hmm. And just acknowledge yourself for it. I'm making like so many decisions. Keep it, put it there, like however, organize it. And this is what's draining the energy. So just knowing the mechanics, what happens in the energy field when you start this process, and then you have more insight and you can make better decisions.
Oh, yeah. Well, I also feel like I see society can get the human brain can get very black or white. So when we start to declutter, I feel like it's easy to get into, I need to be a minimalist. I need to clear out as much as possible to really have cleared my space. Do you feel that that's true? Or do you feel that you can still live in abundance, but feel very cleared in your space. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And, the clutter clearing, we are saying which releases the energy so it can flow and then we can use Feng Shui, is not about minimalism. Complete minimalism is not in tune with Feng Shui, because we create, if it's your style, it's perfect, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, I'm a mom of 4 children and we have a dog. My husband and me, we are both entrepreneurs. So we don't live a minimalist lifestyle. And we just moved, and I still packed some things. We are like, oh, I should have let them go. So I always say regarding this, just be kind to yourself and surround yourself with things you love, you appreciate, you value, and let go of the things you don't need or you just keep because of filling the blank, and if minimalism is not your thing, you don't have to go into this just in order to have a great flow in your life.
Yeah. Have you seen that healing your space transforms a person's life? And if so, yes. How have you seen that it's transformed somebody?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right now, business comes to my mind. I worked with a business owner. He was in the real estate sector. And when we started to work, he was doing really small projects. And the thing was that he was positioned in his office in a way where he was turning his back to his team. So he had a great view, beautiful, but his whole office, his team was really behind him. And then when I came, we did the consultation, we did his healing. And one of the most important things I did, I turned him around. So he was facing towards his team. And, after 2 or 3 weeks, he called me. He was like, what did you do? Things are going like crazy here. And I'm like, oh, let's see. So what happened is that he was really seeing his company and his employees, and he saw what was going on. So he started to clean things up. And this first felt very uncomfortable, but still, since he had cleaned the energy and maybe some people which needed to leave, some project which needed to leave, he got huge projects in Munich to build, to have develop a whole sector of the city. And he'd never built anything in his career without consulting me, because he said by having this view, changing the perspective, having the view, and then cleaning my stuff, cleaning the old things, which I didn't even realize that they didn't belong to me anymore, I was able to level up in my business. And of course, he did something also with his personal life. And it's like, what, you just turned around his desk? Yeah, you need to know what to do exactly. And this is the magic of Feng Shui. But then just turning around the desk opened up his field, opened up his view to really do the changes which needed to be done so that he can take the next step.
It allowed that energy to flow again. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, there is another thing I would love to share. It just also came across my mind. A few years ago, I had a private client, and this family wanted to get pregnant again. And she had difficulties with it. And then they bought a property and wanted to build a house. And we started to consult and do the floor plans and everything. And she said, oh, I feel we are building a home for our, the bigger family. And it's really interesting. We can say Feng Shui did it or not. I honestly don't care. The thing is that just 2 months after we started to work, she got pregnant. And when we stopped, when we finished working in the house, was ready to move in, her child was born. And this is it leaves me speechless of what the transformation can be in your life if you decide to walk the path.
Yeah. Well, you said spaces are energy. And if we are energy and everything we do is energy, when that lines up, it can really create a powerful opening for more abundant futures. That's what it feels like, at least.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Okay, so I want to take a little bit of a sidestep over, because I'm curious, when we talk about Feng Shui, when we talk about clearing space, decluttering, whatever you want to call that piece of it, but you live in a situation or you work in a situation that is a small space, or that is tight spaces, or needs a little bit of extra thought behind it because of the lack of space, even if you have less amount of things. Do you have any suggestions when it comes to either decluttering or Feng Shui, or a combination, for small spaces and people who need to navigate that?
Yeah, so my experience with small spaces is that so many things are happening in one place. So even in children's rooms, it's pretty much the same, because they're learning, they're sleeping, they're playing in one room. So my experience with this is to really create small oases of the work, like of the what is the word of the work you're doing there, or even if you're sleeping, you're eating, you are relaxing, and then you can really create small oases where you anchor the energies. Like the yang energy is the active energy, and the yin energy the passive. So you anchor the energy, even if it's one space. You don't need a wall to anchor energy. It doesn't matter. So again, there is the intention, and the intention activates energy. So by being focused and being intent with what you want to do, and this is anchoring, and this is how you create the energy fields.
Ooh, okay. That led me to a question I'm really curious about. You said about the yin yang energy, and I love that tip about creating the little oases for different activities. But this yin yang energy, do we need to be aware of that depending on the room that we are feng shuiing, or the way that we're creating the energy in certain rooms?
Yes. Yes.
Can we talk about that? That's so interesting.
Absolutely. So most of the rooms in our homes are yang energies, are active energy. So a meditation room or a bedroom is yin energy. It's where we are passive. We are going into, we are going inwards, we're sleeping. And then, very often they say, oh, Feng Shui says TV is not okay in a bedroom, but nobody's teaching why. And the why is because the TV is a yang energy, is an active energy. And the bedroom is a yin energy. So when you put a TV in the bedroom, it's working against the yin energy you need to calm down and fall asleep. And this is the reason behind the recommendation not having a TV in your bedroom, right? Or again, children's room, where you have yin and yang very, very close together. So what I started doing with families I'm consulting, and of course I have to say it needs to be suitable for the family, but if they have two smaller children, especially when they're small, I recommend them not to have two children's room, but to have one playroom and one sleeping room, so that we can divide the energy, the yang and the yin energy. And then, it's better for everyone, but it has to work. It has to fit into the concept of the family and for the kids and everything. But it's very successful for the ones who have implemented this.
Yeah. So you just mind blew me with the TV and the Feng Shui concept. I've heard that over and over, but never really understood why we don't want to have those electronics like the TV in our bedroom. That makes complete sense. Yeah. Do you feel that does color play into that as well? Is that part of Feng Shui and how we decorate the rooms?
Absolutely. Yeah. And the intensity of the colors. So it is quite a complex piece of the Feng Shui, the compass Feng Shui, where we take into consideration the elements, the south, north, west, east, the energies of those elements too, and then the elements, the core numbers of the people, the elements of the people, and then we tie person and space together, working with the elements, with the 5 elements. And then again, how the colors are expressed in the space, you can also divide it into yin and yang. So if you have green, for example, you can have a very, like the darker and more earthier green is a yin green. And then when you have this like spring green, we say in German, or this really like this neon, this green, that's a yang energy of green. So even there, you can decide what color, what kind of energy you want to express through the color.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Well, let's really bring it into a box or into a little bit of a ball that we could maybe gift out to the listeners. And if you could prioritize maybe 3 to 5 simple things that people could start doing right now to either start to clear their space, to feng shui, to do a combination of either of them, what would you suggest for people to just get the ball rolling and create that good feeling so that they want to continue?
Okay, perfect. So we talked about cleaning and clearing your home. So this is the first step I would suggest. And every step you take, just be mindful about it. I think this is the energy which needs to go through like a red thread through all the steps I'm recommending. And every time when you do feng shui, it's always about the intention you put into it. So the first thing is letting go of things you don't need in order to get energy like released and open up so that you have energy which you can guide then in the second step. So the second step is what I didn't mention until now is the chi, the life force energy. And my explanation to understand how life force energy is, well, we could say behaving, is if you think about a child. And a child who has never been to your home enters your home. And children like bright and beautiful and open spaces, and they would not go into dark and cluttered spaces and, where you don't feel really well. A child wouldn't instinctively go there. So this is how chi works. So without making it too complicated, just like imagine you're a child or your chi is a child. Where are the places in your home where it's flowing easily? And where are the places where you feel like, no. And then just take those places which are not really permeated by the energy and sit with them and see, what am I missing there? What does this corner need? Does it need light? Does it need color? Do I need to clean and clear it a little bit? Do I need to smudge it? Maybe I play some energizing music. Just like there's so many resources out there. You can do whatever your instincts tell you. And then this is the way how you can guide the chi through your whole home just by understanding this very, very simple concept. And the third step is if I tell you that one of the most important premises in feng shui is what you see is what you get. So now you go through your home again and say, okay, what I see is what I get. And then look at the things you're having there, look at the pictures, look at the paintings, and then see, okay, if what I see is what I get is really like coming into my life, how about this picture? How about this painting? How about this desk, right? And this brings us also a little bit into the future selfing concept of your home. Like I talked about a little bit, the home is telling me like where you are right now, but then with the future selfing is, where do I want to be in 5 years? How do I want to feel then? And with what things do I want to be surrounded? And when you follow this line of thoughts, then you can go, okay, what I see is what I get. And in 5 years, I want to feel like this. This is my goal. What could I change today to let me go, like open up the feeling into my future self? So your home is supporting you not only creating your vision, but also bringing it into reality.
I love that so much. You've created this 4-step process right here that I've never heard before. And I absolutely love this last one about creating what you see and really bringing that into the home to create your future. It's almost like you are feng shuiing your house. You're clearing your space of your house to manifest the life you want.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So you don't even need a vision board anymore because your whole home is holding the energy of your vision. This is so cool.
No more vision boards. Oh, that's so awesome. So would you say it's fair then to say that if you are living in a space, or even if it's your workspace or whatever, but if you are creating a space that is very much about the past, who you were, maybe things that you aren't anymore, they're just there out of convenience or because you don't know what else to do with them or you don't want to let them go, whatever the reason is, do you feel that could actually be holding you back from moving forward?
Absolutely. This, this is something where I've been talking about, like in the podcast, in my newsletters, like everywhere I get the chance is just to talk about this piece. And I say I'm so grateful that we have as a society created a consciousness about mindfulness, about body, mind, and soul, and health and vitality and everything. But we are missing one piece. We are not taking the energy of our space into consideration. So we really work hard on our visions, on our goals, on our mindset, and all these things. And then we go home, and the home is just is holding the energy of who we maybe are or who we were. And then we are wondering, why is it so exhausting to work towards our visions? I mean, there are enough obstacles out there. Why should your space, where you have the power to change things, be an obstacle? You can release it within like moments. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes not. But even only implementing those 4 simple steps I shared with you is completely going to transform the energy, and you will feel like we say, like it's boosted your path, your way, your energy is like, oh my God, yeah, because somebody is pushing you. It's not dragging you back, it's giving you support.
While you were talking, I was visualizing my house and I'm walking through my house and I realized, wow, I got some work to do. But that is because that aha came to me with the tips and the different approach that you brought. Again, I haven't heard it described that way. So I feel that that's very ingenious, especially as we start to move into more realization of how energy impacts us every single moment of our lives. And if you're spending a large amount of time in a home or in a space that does not support your abundant energy, your forward moving energy, that's going to hold you back.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. Absolutely. And it doesn't have to. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, you have a school and it's called the School of Spiritual Design. Could you talk a little bit about what your school is and why you created it?
Oh, yes. So I learned Feng Shui more than 20 years ago. And about 10 years ago, my clients came and they're like, when are you going to start teaching Feng Shui? And I'm like, never, because I don't know how you become a teacher. But they kept coming. And then I had a mentor and she's like, when people are coming to you, your like destiny's calling. So you need to look into it. And then I understood, like I dove into it. And now, again, 10 years later, I'm understanding that I'm really a teacher. And I love what I do. So I do teach Feng Shui. I certified Feng Shui consultants, And then I also teach the magic of space healing and space activation too, to give people, even if they don't want to become consultants, to give them tools so that they can enhance their businesses and the magic they are doing in their genius. But then just like for example, a coach who is trying to get somebody into his or her power, and then it's like, oh, well, let's take a look at your home, because we are working so hard on you being successful and somehow it's not clicking. Well, maybe your home is, somehow tied to this. And then with this knowledge, it doesn't have to be a complicated consultation. It's like, oh, okay, let's get this obstacle sorted out. And then I can do my job even better than before. So, and this is just bringing in this, what I just talked about, this thought about, okay, what role is our space playing in our lives, and spreading it to as many people as possible.
Well, you said something about space activation, and you have a certification, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk about that certification?
Oh, absolutely. So the space activation is certification where we dive into the most important principles of Feng Shui and the most important principles of space healing. And space healing is the art of healing energies, not only space, but also in the property in the earth. So because, humans have a long history, and we have created some great things on the planet and also some bad things. And Mother Earth is remembering. So we leave traces, and only because a beautiful house is standing on a property, it doesn't mean it has great energy. So sometimes when we only do Feng Shui, but the energy of the earth is not so ideal, the Feng Shui cannot really unfold itself. So we need to go a level deeper into healing the earth, healing the energy, healing the space, and then Feng Shui can really, really unfold. And with the space activation, I have combined those two things into one training and one certification for everybody who wants to dive deeper.
Oh, so okay, that sparked a question for you that I have for you. I have definitely been in spaces. I've been in environments, areas that have a feeling. I can feel energy very strongly. They have an energy or a feeling that feels very exhausting, very tiring, very heavy. And I don't know the history behind any of it, but I can just feel it palpably, so much so that it affects me physically. Is this certification something that would help somebody to, for example, if they would buy a home in that area, or if they would start a business in that area? Is this certification helpful for somebody to help also heal the area around their home too, or their work?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's not so, it's so much more than smudging. It's, smudging and cleaning the space with sound, and it's great. But diving deep into the earth is just a different level. It goes deeper, and the knowledge is it's not so known. And I really want to give it to people, so that, just as you said, you can go deeper, because sometimes you really feel something is not good for you, or you just feel this. I always say it's life-turning energy, because it's life-draining energy. It drains your energy, and you can do everything and still have the feeling that your energy is drained, until you go and connect and see what's going on with the property and the earth beneath your home.
Wow, that's fascinating. This concept is it has been on the forefront of my brain, so I find it interesting that you brought this up today. Oh, wow. Okay. So anything else exciting that's going on in your school right now, or anything that is kind of on the surface of maybe breaking through and becoming a part of the school?
This is so interesting that you are asking this. So I'm based in Germany, or was based in Germany, and I built my business there for 20 years. And I had many clients in the United States during the last years, and I feel that people kept asking again, like, when are you going to do this in English? When are you going to take, okay, so I guess it's time to move on. And so the first space activation training is starting in spring next year. And I'm so in English, and I'm so excited about this. So this is something which is coming up, and we have a wait list, and I'm super excited, very, very much.
Oh, that's awesome. Branching out and expanding. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Unfolding, right? It's about unfolding.
You're unfolding. Well, this has been an amazing conversation. I enjoy you and your energy so much. And I can only imagine the amount of energy and clearing that you give to people when you just simply work with them. So I want more people to get into your space, and I want more people to start to follow you, because you have a ton of wisdom, and you're also doing this work from a place that I have never seen people talk about before. And I want to just be very clear with that. I feel that you are on this brink of unfolding something so amazingly transformative that's of a concept that has been around for so long. So thank you for doing the work that you're doing. And also, how can people find you?
Thank you so much for your words. I was just taking them in, and my heart started to race. So thank you. Thank you very much. So we have created a link for your audience there. People can download some things to start working with some of the concepts I shared today, and also the connection to Instagram, to my Instagram profile. And it's unfoldingspace.com/English and then /energy fix. But before I spell it, I think it will be shown in the show notes.
Yeah, I'll put everything down in the show notes to make it easily accessible.
Yes, thank you so much.
Great. And are you on social media at all, or what is your website that the listeners can jump onto?
So my website is unfoldingspace.com, and on Instagram, you can find me with unfolding space EN for English. Only Unfolding Space will bring you to my German Instagram account, but it doesn't matter. You can always switch. So these are my two places where you can absolutely always find me.
Great. Well, Daniela, I'm curious if you have any last words to lay on the hearts of the listeners, anything that you want to send them off with.
Oh, yes. So no matter how this journey might appear right now, maybe difficult or easy for you, or like, where is the next step to take? What's the first step to do? For example, to start clutter clearing your home. I think the magic is always just taking the first step and being kind to yourself. Just being kind, acknowledging, and taking the first step. And no matter how small the steps are, they will bring you forward. And this is something which is always on my heart when I work with my clients and my students. Be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself. I love that. The most beautiful way to finish off the interview. Thank you so much, Daniela, for being here and for doing the work that you're doing and for sharing so much love and wisdom. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. All the best wishes for you.